Yo, welcome back to the Fan City Gooner podcast right here in Vancouver, Canada. And yes, it's no longer called Fangooners. I just realized that last night where somebody apparently has a blog called Fangooner. So I thought, you know what, if I truly want to establish a great podcast channel or platform, I make sure that I have a unique name. So probably Fan City Gooner Pod would be a good name. I would think it's a good name. It took me probably around 10 to 15 minutes to realize that, to think of a name like that. But yeah, I think from now on, the podcast is going to be Fangooner, actually Fan City Gooner Pod. I think I like it that way, but it's going to take me a while to kind of adjust it, to be honest, because I've been saying Fangooner for a while, but right now it's Fan City Gooner Podcast. So, of course, the game played this morning against Newcastle United. How do I feel about it? I'm not sure about it, to be honest, because I knew it was going to be a very tough game. Let's put it out there. Newcastle has been amazing. Let's take a minute just to praise Newcastle United for this season. Yes, you guys can probably argue that they have the financial takeover happened last year around this time, and they got more financial support. You guys can see last season they signed at least five different players. And 5 different players from pretty much in the Premier League. We have Dan Woods from Burnley, and then you had what was that target? Dan Burn as well, and there are a couple more. Bruno Guimaraes, of course, he is the main part of who they signed last season, and of course they added. I believe, was it Botman this season? Was it Botman, Isak? And a few more as well, Nick Pope as well. So definitely they made quite a lot of improvement, a lot of recruitment as well. But Eddie Howe has been phenomenal so far this season. I can definitely see him, and I know we haven't quite approached that half season mark. I think we just played our 16th or 17th game of the season, but I can certainly see Eddie Howe could be the manager of the season. You know what? If he wins it, I think he totally deserves it. And of course, I think Arteta. I think he could win as well, but it really depends on Eddie Howe and Arteta for this season. But I don't think it's going to be Klopp or Graham Potter. Even Eric Ten Hag could be potentially be fighting for that manager of the season. There's 3 good managers right there, but if you're talking about one particular manager that that impresses everyone, I think has to be Eddie Howe, just transforming the whole team, the whole revolution of what Newcastle is about. I know they used to be a great club. Back in the 90s, having Alan Shearer before I was born. But right now, finally you can see Newcastle as probably one of the tough teams in Europe, not just saying in England, but in Europe as well. Because honestly, if they are playing in the Europa League, I think they can definitely realistically end it up in top in the semifinal. But this game was very, very tough, and we all know that. We just played the game against Brighton 3 days ago. So I know fitness-wise, it was a little bit, I'm not saying it was rusty, but certainly some of the players, you guys can see, they just have nothing left in the tank. Especially today, Martinelli used to be very, very good against West Ham United and also Brighton, but today you guys can see he didn't really have much, have much left in his gas tank. So that's why he wasn't quite performing well, and of course, some of them didn't quite perform well as well. I think Odegaard was doing fine, but you guys can see the way how Newcastle has been, has been playing. It's just, it's very, how do you say it? It's just very tactically pleasing the way how they defend. Very structured, very very organized. You guys can see in the middle five, it's just a straight line, and then you have a back four, and of course they kind of contained the Arsenal attack in that little in that gap between the back line and also the midfield line, which kind of creates quite a lot of pressure for Martin Odegaard, because eventually you will have two players at least going at you. And that's what happened to Bukayo Saka as well. Every time when he was dribbling down on the right-hand side, you have Dan Burns going for him, and you have Joelinton going for him as well. And of course, both of them are, both of them are very, very tall and strong players, which honestly, Bukayo Saka still did still did well on the right-hand side today. I think he had one chance very early on in the first half. I thought he scored there, but of course, Nick Pope, saved it with his feet. And the first half was pretty much we dominated possession. I thought we played very well, but we just couldn't really figure it out, this Newcastle defense, and just kind of passing it around, trying to cross it in the middle as well. And sometimes I feel like the touch that the Arsenal had was a bit clumsy at times when we just entered the penalty box. I felt like, if we, for example, not dissing on Granit Xhaka, but if we have Yuri Tielemans playing as the left center midfielder, the number 8, I felt like we could probably benefit them more, because there were times where Xhaka would be going into the box on kind of left hand side area. It would be a much comfortable angle if he shoots it with his right, but of course Xhaka doesn't really have a very good right foot. Of course, he did score some beautiful goals with his right foot before, but certainly not like a half volley or anything, but kind of like shoots it off the ground. And yeah, I felt like having Tielemans there could potentially benefit us in that position where we can probably get a shot. I don't think Nick Pope had done much in the first 75 minutes. Until the last 15 minutes, we started to show a little bit of a encouraging sign. You guys can see Newcastle was trying to sit back the majority of the time and hit us on the counter. And Gabriel and Saliba was phenomenal today. And I think Gabriel today, for this season, I think he has the best game of the season so far. Very disciplined as well. I think the yellow card that we got from today was, I forgot who it was. I think Odegaard got a yellow card for some reason. But we're going to talk about the referee just in 1 second. Let's just talk about the players, because I felt like despite we didn't really get a win today, I felt like we could have probably gotten something more than a draw. At the same time, I cannot say that Arsenal deserve to win, because when you look at Newcastle, all they were trying to do was to defend, and they defended brilliantly. And Arsenal was trying to figure out the defense, as I said before, but just couldn't, because that shows how Newcastle has been phenomenal throughout the whole season. They drew 8 games this season, losing only 1, which is pretty much the same, the same number of losses as Arsenal. But of course, Arsenal later on will have a much tougher fixtures, which we will go over it in just 1 second. But the players wise, I think Zinchenko has a great game. I would certainly think that it's either him or Gabriel be named as the player of the match. And of course, according to the Premier League app, Kevin Trippier got the play of the game, which is I think is totally fair. He has been pretty much contained Martinelli throughout the whole game. That's why Martinelli didn't quite perform well, and at the same time, you guys can probably give credits to Kevin Trippier. But Zinchenko today has been quite influential. He drops so much in the middle, trying to receive the ball, distribute it, and he has been very calm on the ball as well. Defensively, just completely fine. I don't think we kind of give Newcastle any chances. Maybe perhaps Joelinton could have probably gotten more to the ball in the last kick of the first half with from a corner kick. Actually, maybe he could score from that angle, but you know what? When the ball travels fast, when you try to shoot it or try to hit it, it's gonna be tough. So and I think our backline has been phenomenal. I'm a little bit surprised that Zinchenko played the whole game, to be honest, because for the past few games, or for the past few games that he actually played. I never actually seen him finish the whole game, but today it's kind of like the first time where he completed 19 minutes, and I felt bad for Kieran Tierney, but with the sake of the game, with the nature of the game, I felt like it was very hard for Arteta to actually put in anybody in terms of like to like substitution. The only substitution that we made today was Tom Yasu for Ben White. Of course, both of them similar qualities, but certainly both of them do offer us different stuff as well. Ben White likes to go forward, kind of a little bit more attacking minded, and Tom Yasu is more of a defensive minded type of player. So despite not having Ben White in the last 15-20 minutes of the game, we have Tom Yasu kind of strengthen the back just a little bit. And of course, he has a new look as well. You guys can see he had a fainted dye on his hair, which is something that I did before. Honestly, looks cool to me. And who else going to talk about here? We talk about Eddie. Eddie has been doing good this game. I know he didn't. I know he didn't score a goal, but the fact that he had been worked hard throughout the whole game, trying to replicate what Jesus had done. Trying to kind of drop to the middle, to the midfield area, receive the ball, quick turn, distributed to the wide areas, and I think he did well, was able to retain the ball and show some really, really nice promising signs while driven forward. And this is something you guys can see Eddie is, it's getting there from, scoring every game, but of course he scored past 2 games, but I felt like we can definitely demand more from him. As I said, Jesus had a 11 goal drought before going off injured, and Eddie has scored 2 goals already in the last 3 games. So and there's one bit of play where he shoots it with his left foot. I think it happened in the last 20 minutes. Honestly, I thought he scored because the fact that I couldn't really see how he was trying to pull the trigger on that one. But Nick Pope, again, he is a phenomenal goalkeeper. Make that great save. But other than that, Arsenal didn't really put too much of a test on Nick Pope, which comes to the referee decision, because the referee is somehow still a little bit inexperienced, and I'm not sure. Again, even though I am a diehard Arsenal fan, but I try not to. How about this? I try not to turn everything, against or towards the referee, because I felt like, if we had more chances, not just having more chances, but creating more chances, giving, different ideas, better ideas in terms of how we attack, we might have probably scored a few goals without relying on the referee. And I felt like Arsenal sometimes, and I don't know, I know that there might be an agenda against Arsenal. Honestly, there might be an agenda against pretty much every Premier League team. But for Arsenal, I feel like sometimes we just have to carry on the game. We just kind of, yes, you guys can probably say that referee kind of constituted, the game that we play, right? I mean, the majority of the decisions that lies upon the game is really based on referee. Just put it out there. But today's game, referee has been, I would say, poor. I thought it was okay in the first 10-15 minutes, but then I felt like a lot of times where the refereeing has been very, very obnoxious. I just don't think it was the right call. I felt like every tiny bit of a foul. It feels like it could have been a yellow card, something like that. And and of course the fouls and stuff like that, not particularly something that I want to focus on, because I don't think that's like the main topic in terms of the refereeing. I think it's all about the 2 potential penalty. And I think, honestly, I think the first one, the shirt, I think Dan Burn was pulling Gabriel's shirt. I think that's a penalty, because And first of all, it's quite obvious, right? Like when you pull a shirt, even on TV, everybody can see it. And the fact that you can, on TV or on slow motion camera, you can see the majority of the undershirt of Gabrielle than the jersey itself. And that has to be a penalty. And I know there were other games in the past where they definitely called that like they definitely call a similar situation penalty as well, or maybe even lesser than that. And I don't understand how the referee could miss it. And okay, fine, if you miss it, don't worry about it. But the fact that VAR wasn't even checked, that's something that I felt it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like this at all, because I think I heard some of the commentary. If you think that it's a slight tug or a slight pull, and you don't think it's significant enough, you can probably bypass that. But certainly not this one, because this one's quite obvious, by the way, and everybody was like shouting stuff like that. I know there are a lot of fan base hate Arsenal fans. I understand them because we can be very hardcore as well, but I think this one everybody has to agree has to be a penalty, right? So to me, it should have been a penalty, that one. But the last penalty that we had, not the last penalty, but the last chance that we try to get on the left hand side, Shaka tried to cross it, and I felt like there was a hand to it to Sean. Is this Sean Murphy or something like that? Is it Glenn Murphy? I don't know, but I'm sure the player was Murphy. I don't that one. It's funny because I wasn't convinced that was a penalty, because eventually it was his hand just kind of tucked into his body, and it just kind of hit his hand. I don't think that was a penalty, but I thought the pole shirt was more of a penalty than the handball. But like I said, you can really just rely on the referee sometimes. But in order for us to show us we have the winning mentality, showing that we are the champion or potential champion, or going for the title race, sometimes we just don't want to rely on the referee. We just want to play our own game, trying to score if we can. I know refereeing a bad call from a decision, a bad call from a referee could make a difference. Like today, I felt like if we got the penalty, Saka score, he might not score, but if we score, then we could have a 10-point lead. But the thing is, what scares me was very interesting. I was thinking about this during the day in the car, actually. The fact that I wasn't disappointed. I was a little bit disappointed with the result, which is fair. I'm sure all the Arsenal fans around the world would definitely think that. I think the fans are definitely disappointed with the result. But what makes it the fact that I know a lot of people are expecting Arsenal to win this game. But personally, I think what worries me is the fact that United has been winning quite a lot recently. And I think they were on a streak right now, and I think they beat Bournemouth 2-0 or 3-0 today, which put them in a very favorable position. I think right now they're 9 points behind us and 2 points away from Man City, and that is going to be important, because I felt like in terms of the top 4 prediction that I have, I really don't know, to be honest, guys. At this point, I wouldn't say Arsenal is going to win the league. Like, not now. Match day 17, I don't think they're still going to win the league. We can have a topic. We can have a discussion about it in the next few weeks. But I think top 4, number 4 has to be. I think might be Newcastle, but just a little. I think they just got in. I think Spurs are having its own problem right now. So, and of course, I don't like Spurs at all, but I thought they were going to be a good team this season, but I think right now just kind of fell off a little bit. And I think they would finish 5th. Liverpool might finish 6th, and Chelsea might finish 7th, or even Brighton might finish 7th. Look at today. They beat Everton 4-1, and we beat Brighton at home 4-2. And Everton drew Man City. So what on earth is that, right? But yeah, fourth has to be Newcastle United, but I felt like United might get third. I think Arsenal might get second, but again, it's really depends on this January transfer window, which comes into okay. Yes, Man City obvious winner. Well, not obvious, but I think they might still be able to win the league. And which brings us to the next topic that I really do want to address, which is Mikhail Mudryk. I think the fact that Arsenal ran out of ideas, even a lot of commentators said the same thing. I felt like, yeah, you're right. Arsenal ran out of ideas towards the end. In the last 20 minutes we have been very stale up front. We just keep passing around. There's no clear direction. There's no clear clear purposes in terms of how we want to attack Newcastle, how we want to break the deadlock. We just couldn't really find a way. And which kind of scares me a little bit because if you want to be a champion, you need to have a good squad depth. And defensively, I think we had a good squad depth. You have Tierney, Tomiyasu, or even Rob Holding. The courtesy of Rob Holding in the last 5 minutes in the 1-0 win or 1-goal difference. And then you have Sambi, but in normal circumstances, I don't think you would put him. El Neni, yeah, probably the next one. I think I think he's a substitution for Thomas Partey. You have Fabio Vieira, 36 million euros or pounds, and didn't even really get a chance in this game. I felt like I don't think he will strive in this game, to be honest, based on his physique and the way how we play. And I don't even know who you're gonna sub off. You might potentially sub off Martinelli and put Saka on the left hand side and putting Fabio Vieira on the right hand side. But again, when you put Fabio Vieira on the right hand side, you have to face against Joe Linton and Dan Burns as well. Oh my God, a 6-6 against a 5-6. Which is again a very obvious battle, and that's what I said. You just can't really put Fabio Vieira in that position, and you don't want to take Martin Odegaard off since he's the man in form. And right now, what's important is since Arsenal do not have any ideas up front, and players are gonna get tired. We keep playing Saka and Martinelli at this rate. They might get injured, and I don't want to see that because we're arriving at a very crucial stage of the the league. The fact that we have Spurs away next week, and United at home after that, and was it 2 games against Cities, and Everton away, a tricky game as well, and Brighton at home, and the next 2 months are crucial. And the fact that Arsenal do not have any attacking option at the moment worries me a little bit. I know we have Smith Rowe coming back. I think he's in full training right now, but I don't think he'll be, match ready, match fit, in a week or 2. And of course, we really want to have that, Smith Rowe back from last season, coming off the bench, scoring 4 or 5 goals in a row. That's a Smith Rowe that we want. I think that's a play that we want, is somebody who can change the game by scoring off the bench. And having Mikhail Mudryk, that one's also important too, because what scares me is the fact that second bid has been submitted, 50 million euros guarantee fee on the table, and a few add-ons as well. I think eventually it's 75 million euros for the total package. But at the same time, what scares me, it's having Chelsea right behind Arsenal. Just in case if the deal with Shakhtar collapse with Arsenal, Chelsea is going to come in and hijack the deal. Which after that, Arsenal have been following Mikhail Mudryk for the past 3-4 months, and of course his value went up because of the Champions League. He had been performing very well this season, scoring 11 goals across all competitions, and I just don't know at this moment, because I felt like you don't want to overspend a player. I understand that, but if you don't overspend a player, who is our second target? We don't have that. We firmly established Mudryk fits for Arsenal. And of course, personal term has agreed. I believe the player and Arteta has already discussed about the role that he's going to play. I'm sure he's on for it. He loves Arsenal, flirting with Arsenal. So yeah, I really hope that, because right now I'm recording this at 10:30 p.m. And right now I have that urge of tendency or urgency to check my Twitter in the middle of the night, because that would be like the morning time in the UK, and hopefully we're gonna see that news where here we go from Fabrizio Romano. I hope that's gonna happen, to be honest. But honestly, Arsenal really, really need to do something in the transfer window very soon. We have Oxford away from home in the FA Cup. And honestly, I don't even mind, getting kicked out or getting eliminated early in the FA Cup, to be honest, because I felt like since we have a very big chance right now to potentially win the league, I think all our firepower should be on the Premier League. And hopefully Arsenal are going to sign a player or two by the end of the month. I know we have 28 days to work on that, which is something Arsenal really, really had to do something about it. I mean, with the squad that we have, I don't think we're gonna win the league. And with the we have Europa League coming on in February or March. I felt like this is a perfect opportunity for Arsenal to establish to the world that we can potentially win the title. Yes, we might be at first right now, but with the squad depth that we have, and of course, knock on wood, if there might be a injury and stuff like that, Arsenal are doomed. So let's hope that Edu's going to do something. Let's hope that the boys are not too disappointed with the result. I think they should held their chin high. I think they did well overall in this game, but not Arteta's fault, not the players' fault. It's just that we kind of running out that option on the bench. So thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoy this. I'll be posting this on my Acast channel, my Spotify. Apparently I have my Spotify now. I'm very, very happy about it, but I might have to redo some of the work there. I still don't quite have a thumbnail yet. I'm trying to ask my friend to do it for me. I'm not very good at photoshopping, but of course, a little bit more appealing, to the new audience out there. I might potentially move this kind of video into a new channel specifically for Arsenal. I know what I'm uploading right now is just kind of coming from a gaming channel, which again, it's a very silly gaming channel. I said a long time ago, or a lot of times in the past, where this channel, it's more dedicated into gaming, FIFA, MLB The Show, all different kinds of games, and just trying to I just don't want this to integrate into the gaming channel. So I will keep you guys posted about the status of this channel, how I'm going to expand this channel into a more of a business-minded channel. But again, I'm sure my resolution for this year 2023 was pretty much make sure I'm going to have I wish I have success with this podcasting channel. So thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoy this. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you guys in a bit.